I'm stoked to have you back on. Few things that I wanted to talk about, but first, foremost, how was Greece?
Awesome. It was awesome. The only thing that really threw me for a loop, which is probably why I'm here, is the whole Afghanistan kind of debacle. And I just coming from my world, it just didn't feel like I kind of tuned off and not really even sharing those experiences, and just Ali still did, which I appreciate, and taking photos. Like I didn't really do any photos or anything just because
you were decompressing.
That, and even my own, like even with business, I was like trying to share things about the Agogi and like and Johnny Slicks. I'm like, this isn't fucking important right now. Whoa. It's and business still has to continue, right? But I just, as far as like where I was in my mental space, I was just like, there's just bigger issues right now than what fucking pomade you put in your hair, So, I don't have the military background by any stretch, right? Of any of the stuff that you went through, or even that connection, or even the ability to point it out on a map where exactly we're talking about quickly. You know what I mean? Like I understand. Yeah. I've got. However, I was in another country when all of that happened. And it was a very unique take on it because I was getting a lot of local media from Iceland about it. So was I in Greece, and it was very different, and very like the contrast was way different than what it is in America.
Yeah. It wasn't as pick a side.
Right.
It wasn't as propagated to just one side or the other. It was actually like news.
So what's interesting is, as I was watching the Greek news, it was just reporting what was happening.
That's it. Yeah, there wasn't anything editorialized.
There was nothing about like why it was happening, who did what, whatever. It was literally, this is happening in the world. That's it.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was really strange to see it that way. And then, I mean, one of those perspectives that comes from travel, right, is you see the way the rest of the planet actually operates and lives. And then you go, oh.
And I know you have a different audience here, which is, I think that is awesome. And I think that me being on here about this particular subject is going to answer some questions, because I think a lot of people don't really know, and have the full picture of it. So I think I made a video on my YouTube for that just case, right? It was like, listen, like everybody's upset, all the emotions are flying, but you have to understand, a few key things that we'll get into. But on the subject of media in Greece, it's always been that way. So every time I go visit my family, I'm always checking in. Like I literally ask them, I'm like, so what's the news of America? How's America looking? You know what I mean? And they tell me, and expect, because, from all the way from Bush being in office to, to Obama, to Trump, and then, now Biden, like what the perception is of the media in Greece. And it's always very different.
What do you notice the big difference?
So Obama was to Greece. Obama was like this saving grace of the world. He was just
America needed that.
The world needed that. Like the world looked at him as the savior. They really did. They really painted him in Greece and European media as like the world savior.
Fascinating.
Like, yeah. And of course with Trump, it was like he was just the devil,
complete antithesis of whatever Obama was. And
yeah,
and as being American, I do feel that. I do feel that our pendulum swings of what we've chosen have been pretty drastic over the last 12 years. I mean, we had Bush,
absolutely.
What the other person, the other side wanted the opposite of Bush, and we got Obama, and then we swung the pendulum back completely hard to Trump. And we moved it to the complete opposite side again.
Just in a scary world, in my opinion. But especially with my service, I joined in the Clinton era,
Mm-hmm.
I joined the Marine Corps when Clinton was president. Then, Bush took office shortly after that. And then I served under Obama. And then, I was a business owner under Trump. And now here we are. But so for the Biden aspect of Greece, so Obama was the savior of the world. Trump was the devil. And then now crickets. They just don't talk about him.
No, he's not making news. And we ran into a couple people like while we were up in, we made our way back up to Siglo.
I saw, and I was reminiscing. I saw the sign. I was like, oh my God, man, take me back.
Dude, it was so fucking good. Also, why is that place so expensive? Anyway, so like talking to us, so we ran into a couple there that were from, I think they're Swiss.
Okay. Yeah.
Could be wrong. Dutch, shit, Denmark.
That area.
Yeah. Scandinavian.
Yeah.
Chatting with them. And one of the questions I had was like, I'm just curious, what is the perception of the U.S.?
Yeah.
And they said, for them, especially because they've traveled a lot, they have a really soft spot for the U.S. They like it over here. They like traveling over here and being part of it. They just have seen the last few presidencies as we're not getting what we deserve as a country. Our representation is so bad. I mean, really, that shift for them starts at the end of Obama. And I mean, I get it from the rest of the world. If you're looking at that, we decided to pick a reality TV show host as our operator. It's a bit weird for the rest of the.
See, this is where there's a lot of things with him that I don't agree with, and the way that he communicated with the American people. He didn't, which that was his big thing, right? He didn't want to pander, but as a leader, you have to talk to the people and kind of make them feel good. And he would never make any.
I think he pandered straight to the middle. I think he dumbed himself down. I think he purposely did all that. I think he took more of an asshole approach to play to that role. And there's no way I believe that that's an authentic view of him. I've seen videos of him speaking at different engagements in the past, long before he ever considered this. And he's eloquent and he's able to articulate things. I believe he's transformed into a character.
Well, then he chose wrong. I think that's what essentially was. Yeah.
Why you would choose that other than has convinced a lot of people that was the way.
This is where I kind of differ with, probably a lot of your audiences. I look at just the facts. It's not about feelings, not about how somebody makes me feel. I don't give a shit. He doesn't need to make me feel good. You know what I mean?
I agree with you 100% on that.
Like, I just I'm like, okay, I'm an adult. I'm a tax-paying business owner. I'm a veteran. I got to look at what is being done. What are the facts of being done? What is he changing?
Side than the opposition.
Right. And that's the thing is like, for instance, with the VA healthcare, everybody knows, and it's funny. Everybody we should have socialized healthcare. We have it. It's called the VA. Go ask the VA go ask the veteran how socialized healthcare works. And I got an interesting story about my family in Greece with socialized healthcare as well.
Excellent.
So one of the things was I was trying to see a neuro for 6 years. Didn't happen until Trump.
TBI type stuff or
yeah. Like I've been, I went to a 2-week inpatient brain clinic when I got out. There were some things that needed, like migraines and some things that needed to be taken care of. And they were just like, take this pill, take this pill, take this pill, take this pill. And I'm like, I don't want to take this pill. I want to see a neuro, and there's other options. Right. When that happened, when he came into office, he did radically change some things. And it was almost, I think within the month, I saw a neuro, and now I see a neuro every 3 months.
Well, that's huge.
Yeah. And then there's some other things, right? Business, taxes. And I just like, these are positive changes that I can get behind. You know what I mean? But again, he didn't talk to the people the way that, he should have inspired. Leaders inspire. And granted, he inspired a certain group of people, by taking that hard stance, right?
What I think he did right is he said, if I had enough people to get in, I just need to make sure those people stay on my side.
Yeah.
Wasn't
and there's nothing wrong with taking a hard line, especially with what's going on in Afghanistan. That's what we need right now. We need somebody with huge balls that says, hey, fuck around and find out.
Sure. But at the same time, like the type of guy who's responded the way Biden has to this. And this was, again, my bitch about the past, Biden and the previous administration was that I need someone who can occasionally say, yo, we fucked that up.
That's called leadership.
That's called leadership. Instead of saying no, or no, there was no possible way for this to go better. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, that's true. And I don't know if you saw Jocko's little skit that he did, as far as I thought was like, there you go. That's how you do it.
Yep.
Hey, listen, we gave this a go. We fucked it up. I fucked it up.
Yep.
And
that's the word. I fucked this up.
Yeah.
Because you're the coach, man. You're the fucking CEO. That's how this works.
Yeah. And I told somebody, I posted that because I was getting messages and I said, listen, in my time in the military as a young, force reconnaissance team leader, I was like, this is, you were taught that everything your team fails or succeeds at is the team leader's fault. Regardless.
Yeah.
It's just you take ownership of it. You're the leader.
Like that's how the whole thing works. That's like anyone I know managing their shit well, business wise or life or any of that, has full accountability to the outcomes in their life.
Absolutely. And that's what makes great leaders. And he just didn't do that. He just bounced and boldface lied, and just lied and said everything's great, which I know personally is through text messages and WhatsApp and Signal and all the things that I'm dealing with right now. It's not great. It's the opposite of great.
This is the way that this went best.
Yeah.
Then again, I don't know that there's a great exit strategy for this.
So that's where I feel like America is being lied to. America is being lied to by thinking that but again,
that if
going back to,
this doesn't work.
Well, right. And they want their troops home, right? They're like, bring our troops home. You know what I mean? And a lot of people feel like that. And I get that. I understand that. Keep in mind, first of all, we are an all volunteer force. Nobody is there from fucking conscript. Right. They're not slaves. These are young men and women that went up and said, hey, I'll raise my right hand and send me
X, Y, and Z. This seems like a job I should do.
Yeah. I'm passionate about doing this job. So don't get it twisted that there's somebody there that just doesn't want to be there, doesn't want to serve. You know what I mean? And, and some people do get, bitter like me. And when that time comes, you exit.
Yeah.
That's it. Like any job.
That's how
you exit.
You realize
that's how it works. Anymore. But don't get it twisted. There's these young kids over there that are just like, I don't want to be in Afghanistan. No, man. Like they're there because they want to be there, especially when it comes to the combat arms guys, like the infantry and 82nd Airborne or special operations, dude. It's like training to throw.
I fully understand.
And then never throwing in a match or a game, like ever. You just practice. That's all you do.
Right. And especially, like, I think it's just so hard for people to understand that anyone could be comfortable in that environment or that war or battle or any of these type of things or anything other than complete hell.
Right.
Whereas due to who I'm friends with and these type of things, I know better.
Right. Exactly.
A number of people who prefer that environment over going to the grocery store, who prefer that environment over any cushy couch they've ever been on, and so those people need work to do.
And you know what? And the thing is there has to, and the reality of the world is, and the reality of just the way it works is we need those people.
For sure we do. I've always, your Tim Kennedys, your Rudies, these guys that I've always, that I've been around, yourself, these guys that I always know, like now that I've got to meet special forces guys and these guys, like, man, it's such a different breed of human to me that I don't have a lot of it. And I love it. I love being around it because it is this willingness to walk toward the fire.
Yeah. But at the same time, we're not like, these macho man Randy Savage characters that sometimes you portray. It looks like we are. At the end of the day, believe it or not, the most violent guys that I know are the biggest hippies and the biggest lovers that you can ever imagine.
Well, having violence as a tool is a big different thing than acting out of fear.
Exactly.
Well-trained military guys who also know how to handle, who have also been in combat enough to understand what that stress is, not theoretically.
And what the damage it can do. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's a healthy respect for violence and what the outcome is. And a lot of people scream, "Oh, we got to do this and we got to do this and we got to take the fight." I'm like, that's easy to say for someone who's never done it.
Yo, very true.
You know what I'm saying? Like
very
you especially for all the men out there in this country that are 50 to 100 pounds overweight, and they're like, I'm ready. And I'm like, you ain't ready for shit, dude. You're gonna.
I'm not sure we talked about it, but we were talking about just the capability of humans within the United States.
Yeah.
And so my guess is if you had just dropped an unprepared civilian, let's just say anyone from our population, unprepared, 150 yards out from the shore in water, how many don't die? Like what percentage of our country make it to shore? And I think 20% survive tops, 150 yards.
That's probably accurate. I'd go with that. Yeah.
41, like there's some like 40% can't swim. So they're out. They're already dead. We've already lost that. Anyone injured in hospitals, hospice, anyone in that population, they're gone. So, man, that number creeps up really quick. And then 150 yard swim, like you can just chill and get on your back and cruise in and not panic. But now factor in who won't panic.
Right. Or who, when they get tired because they're out of shape, start panicking.
Well, most people think they're in better shape than they really are.
I know. And then
it's really like I work really hard at it and I'm aware of the not shape I'm in.
Right. Exactly. I train multiple times a week and sometimes I'm like, fuck, I'm out of shape.
Even like these like little hikes in Iceland and shit like that while we were there, I'm like, you know, the moment when it's like, I realize I'm now doing a thing that's physical instead of just taking, I'm like, all right, we have this long left. This is a pace I can keep.
Your skin's getting all prickly and hot. And you're like, did I take niacin? What is this feeling?
Oh God. Yeah.
So
most people aren't prepared.
No, they're not. And that's one thing that I bring up with like jiu-jitsu, and people are like, well, I'm going to take it to the fight. And it's like, I've rolled with people that are overweight and brand new, and literally within 2 minutes, their heart is about to explode.
That's all you have to do is just wait. They'll beat themselves.
Yeah. And just chill.
Yeah.
Just chill. And I'm sure you've done, because you've rolled with that, the guy in St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
And he's a brown belt, right? Yeah. So he's not working hard at all.
No.
And your big ass is probably like, what the hell is happening?
Like the first time I ever rolled with was Kyle Kingsbury and another friend of ours, Kurt, who were both black belt dudes down in Austin. And I rolled with them, and like it was simply they just let me do whatever, and like they just weren't ever on the defense. It was like they were just slowly doing things, and I'm just fighting for my life the whole time. And
you're strong, and you're strong.
But man, it doesn't play there. And it doesn't play there for more than about 30 seconds.
Right. And that's and that concept right there alone, right? Like that concept right there alone, that you think that you are prepared to do this thing. But unless you do that thing, you are not prepared. No.
And even the more you seem to do that thing, the more it should open your eyes to how unprepared you are.
I love the adage, like, you know, you coming up through the thing. And then when you get a black belt, people are like, that's when they realize there's really still a white belt.
Yeah.
Because even at that level, a decade in, you're just like, yeah, I'm not there.
No, because man, you can see in whatever arena it is, man, you see guys that can speak the language of it, and then you see guys that can learn to speak.
Right.
Those are different humans, and there's always a different level of the guys who speak the language, like who are fluent in that activity.
So that kind of goes back to, what we're talking about is do not get on the internet and do not, beat your chest and talk about all these things unless you understand what you're talking about and you're actually prepared to do said thing.
Well, that would be a great thing for the rest of the world to take away from this podcast. But well, to bet you and I don't fix it right here. The internet loves it. We've never had a bigger voice to people who have less fucking concept of what they're talking about.
And unfortunately now I see that more and more and more as time goes on. I try not to look at it.
No, but for me, and like, so back to the administration and back to what we were talking about with that and all those type of things with accountability. Do you think part of this is for me, I think it's our fault. I think it's our fault that we have throughout the last couple of years, we don't allow officials to fuck up and apologize and say they made a mistake publicly, because the other side gets to attack so hard on the other propaganda. We haven't allowed them to be human in a really long time. And so if we continue to not allow that grace for them to be human and make mistakes and say they fucked up, they have to play the other way.
Yeah. I think that it's also, you got to look at the type of person that does that job. Do you want to get into politics?
No. I eliminate anyone who wants that job.
That's I feel like it's almost like a fall on your sword kind of job.
For sure.
And there's a handful of guys out there at a lower level, like some younger, men and women that are really trying to come up and that are really kind of the type of people that you're talking about. They're kind of like the extreme ownership individuals that are like, listen, this is fucked up. I'm going to do it. And then if I fuck up, I'll admit to it.
I like the vibe Dan Crenshaw has.
Yeah. This young guy, Madison in North Carolina. I mean, I think he's 24 years old. He's a powerhouse. And he's a very different type of individual. He's a very, he's wanting to hold people accountable. He's wanting to do those sort of things. And I think that's going to grow. And I think people want that. They want that accountability. But with this right here, this is what's scary to me. The fact that they're bold-faced lying on what's happening. And then the fact that they have the ability, do not get it twisted. They have the ability to make it stop, or to make it stop when it was happening.
Yep.
And they didn't.
No, it's choice.
Which leads me to believe they want it to happen. Now that's a scary thought. And what does that even mean? So,
I mean, what I look at that, right? Like, if this is calculated and this is a want, then is it like a quick retreat to watch the power vacuum so then we can say, here's why we're here fighting?
That's a good question, right? So it's like, are they doing it so they can turn the war machine back on a bigger level because it was drawn down so much?
The war machine is very important to our economy.
Right. So it's like, is that the reason?
How does he get a war in a way that seemed like he was trying to get out of a war?
Right. And here's the thing for all the people out there, like, oh, you're conspiracy theorists. Listen, in a military operation, you have to come up with courses of action, right? So you have to look at, okay, let's just analyze this whole thing and let's break down what could be the reasons why someone's doing this. So sure. You have that, right? You've got the war machine. Like, hey, sorry guys, we tried to pull everybody out, but they're assholes. So we got to go back in and take care of terror. Yeah. Or is it like, if you look at what happened, we pulled people out. And I want to break down that process in a little minute, but while we're talking about this, pull people out within 24 hours, China was in there buying rights to lithium. Now, for you that don't know, lithium, well, that's what uses all your batteries for your Teslas and for your iPhones and your computers and your cameras and every fucking thing, everything. and they just got the goddamn mother load of it. Now you rewind that and you're like, okay, this, the alleged connection between the Bidens and China prior to the election, right? That was being talked about.
Yes.
You got that
knowledge, but yeah.
And then, I'm not Supreme Court. I'm not a lawyer. So I'm just saying, hey, listen,
gotcha. Yeah,
all of these are possibilities, right? I have my own personal opinions. I'm just laying them all out there.
Yep.
So you've got that. So this starts to look very weird, right? This benefits China a lot. And that we're going to pull from, of course, because our Americans now are buying Taliban lithium. That money went to the Taliban.
And still is currently.
So in the future, every time you buy a battery, you essentially are funding the Taliban.
Well, they're now the new, very realistic governing body of Afghanistan. I feel like we have to just call them something else. They seem very logical, and they seem.
Oh no! Don't get it twisted. Listen, no, I will not go down that road with you. Absolutely not. They are a fucking terrorist organization. Clears, do not, under any circumstance, believe that they are some sort of authentic government.
No, I do not.
They are a fucking horrible, evil group of individuals, and I've seen it personally myself. And there's no, anyways. So you got that option, right? You've got this weird thing where, China, Biden has something with China. He decides to pull out this weird, horrible way. Boom. Within 24 hours, China's negotiated, the rights to lithium for something like, I don't know, $1 billion. I don't know what it is. You can fact check that. It was a lot of money. Wow. And then here we are, right? And now we are. Now let's take a look at the last year and a half with COVID. This is my third one. The government across the board has wanted to control America. They have removed First Amendment by the way of working with, big tech. Yep. So anybody that wants to disagree with that, the former president, he gets blocked on Twitter, but the leader of the Taliban and can have a Twitter account and talk about and use it as a public place.
It's amazing we don't understand how the free speech thing works.
You know what I mean? Like that's a big deal. And when you control the narrative, like, Nazi Germany, when you control that narrative, you can control
or any of these places. Like, step one is not fucking marching in the streets.
No. It's slowly. It's just
fucking shift you take on people.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's what's scary. So they shut down businesses. They start calling them essential. They start, then you start taking away and, you start paying people to sit at their ass in their house. So you can't even get an employee. Because
scared people, man.
Yeah, man. Everywhere I go, there's like a for hiring sign, but everybody's like, nah, I'm good, man.
In the same.
Yeah, everywhere.
In St. Louis. I saw somewhere that was like $23 an hour for like kitchen staff.
Which we just want to, they're like, nah, man.
Part of me that like has that life, right? Like that job.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could pick up like 2 nights. Like, if it's out there.
So they've been fighting for this like draconian tyranny of control over America. Say only listen to what we tell you to do. When you can go out, there's places that had curfews. North Carolina had a curfew, and it's like, okay, so now here's where it gets really. So it didn't work, right? Well, it sort of worked, but Americans are pushing back on it.
It did not affect the virus the way that we were told.
Right. Because it had nothing to do with the virus. It was about control. And now you look, and if you look at what's going on in Australia right now, that is some shit out of a sci-fi movie.
So let's break that down. What is happening there? I've Googled a handful of things and I get pretty loose list of what.
So coming from the people that, directly that I'm talking to over there that have, messaged me through social media or whatever it may be, they are straight up using lockdown, like martial law lockdown procedures.
So like
it is 100%, but I mean, it's from a police force, but in a military way. You have no more rights. You cannot leave your house. I mean, these are certain places in Australia, right? This is, but for the most part, it's a lot of the majority of Australia. And but you can't leave, I think, a 1 kilometer from your house. They're coming and separating your kids and taking kids to camps, coming in your home and ripping your kids from your arms.
What is for vaccinated, non-vaccinated, or for
possible COVID, or for their safety?
COVID, they go to a camp.
Yeah.
Oh man,
for a virus that's 99% recoverable.
And how many couples do you know that one got it, shared a bed with the other person, and the other one didn't?
They didn't get it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing is you don't have deadly infectious virus and that.
That's why it's not about a virus.
I believe that's very true.
This is not about a virus. And at this point, even if it
isn't about public health.
Right. And even if you you're like, hey, I'm really scared about the virus and blah, blah, blah. Even if you're one of those people, the pro virus, everything, at this point, you really have to be a special person not to step back and go, this all seems really weird.
Yeah. I can't imagine I guess I don't know whatever the opposite of a Karen would be.
I don't know.
Or that route that's so anxiety and frustrated with, like, if everyone would just stay at home and not talk to their family and do this for like 2 weeks, we'd all be fine. Like, I guess I don't know anyone in that camp.
I think we did that. It didn't, nothing happened.
But I could always see the argument for that person, like, but not everyone complied, and we have to have everyone, otherwise it sneaks out.
Yeah, sure. But now what's crazy is now what they're saying is it's the vaccinated people that are actually causing a lot of the problems, this mutation and stuff, But that, whatever, that could be, people are going to argue that to death. So you look at the year and a half, they try to do curfews, they try to shut down businesses. They're taking kids out of school. They came and raided my gym. We had 0 cases here. Yeah. They didn't have masks on. It was completely, they broke the 4th Amendment, illegal search and seizure. It's an ongoing lawsuit. Still,
I understand what you can and can't share about it, but
I can pretty much share anything. Oh yeah, man. They keep trying to dismiss it that I don't have jurisdiction, and the lawyers like, no, yeah, that's what they're saying, that they were operating in the rightful capacity. And he's like, but you didn't have a warrant. And in this country, you still have to, there's still actual laws. You violated the space of the business with no warrant on an executive order. That is not a law. It's not a law. And I even asked the officer in that video, I said, what statute are these people breaking? And he just rolled his window up because there's no statute. No statute.
And where do you fall on empathy for a guy doing a job?
So here's the thing is,
which is I get where a lot of people fall. It's like, man, they're just trying to do their job. But at some point,
no, how many Nazis were just doing their job?
A lot.
Hey man, I just put those people in there and burn them alive. I was just doing what I was told. At what point are you complicit in those actions? And then
when we all know people that have been complicit in those actions who do not agree with what they're.
But as soon as you are, you're complicit, and it takes true courage and true bravery to go, wait a minute. And I felt bad because, and I'll say this publicly, there was a detective who's a nice lady that was part of the illegal entering of the business when that happened, the raid, if you want to call it that. I liked her. I think she was a good officer, but she entered the business, and all she had to do was stop him and go, hey, listen,
can't do that. This
is illegal. We can't do this. We have to do it a different way.
Or are they just banking on that you don't know?
I think that they were so hungry for power and control, they weren't even thinking about it. they have to know, like they know the laws. Yeah. They're taught them laws. They know what they're doing, but they really, I think they believe because they had this executive order thing here that they really could they're like, well, this gives me power to trump, our Constitution.
Call it power to Trump now.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then, but again, it's like when you see mass murdering, it's like I don't remember what the battle was, but in Vietnam, there was a helicopter pilot watching the massacre of a village, and everybody, and there was young men in there in Vietnam going, I thought it was horrible, but I was just like this. I was being told, do what I was told to do. And it took a helicopter pilot to stop them and basically buy it from a machine gun. Everybody there was complicit until this one person had the courage to go, if you don't stop, I'm going to murder all of you. Yeah. That's true courage. And then that's what it takes. It takes someone to go, hey, and these officers, and you should get Greg Anderson on your podcast. And if you need an intro, I'll get that to you. But he was the initial cop, that viral video that went out in Washington State that said, hey, listen, it was like in March, it just happened. And they were already talking about these draconian lockdown measures and, unconstitutional, things that they were going to do to all the citizens that they're still doing out there. And he goes, listen, if you do this, it is going to get worse for America. You cannot take law-abiding citizens and quarantine the healthy and tell businesses to shut down and all these different things. He was a Ranger. He was, I think he worked for.
I would love an intro. I'd love to.
He was like, I was a Ranger. I worked for the feds. Now I'm a cop and SWAT. I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I've lived this life. I'm for the people. I fought for the people. I serve and protect the people, but I'm telling you right now, you cannot do this to American citizens. It's going to get worse. And everything he said in that 9-minute video has come to pass.
Yeah.
And they fired him over it.
Well, and because we have somehow decided to make this issue a left or right political issue instead of it just being something logical we can all look at like that. So one of the things I noticed, being in Iceland, they have their own political bullshit. It's all nothing like ours because they don't have any people. Right. But it does feel like the people feel like Iceland. Like the people are pretty united.
Yeah.
Even they all believe a lot of different things. They are interested in the benefit of Iceland. Whereas we've made a turn that's no longer the case.
Well, and here's the thing and we've been manipulated.
I agree. However, I believe that we have chose it too.
How do you destabilize a country?
Oh, you divide people. Well, 100%. That's all in the playbook. Everything that we're watching happen.
It's a playbook.
I just end up landing on the side of it of it's really interesting to watch that this is what we want.
We are choosing as a people to allow them to divide us.
That's what I find very fascinating. Through my, platforms I get to use and things like that. I love trying to have conversations with people on both sides of this to try to share more perspective, that if anyone's willing to listen to logical, smart people try to explain things, let's do that. But it's very interesting to me that what we've chose is to live in an echo chamber.
Yeah. And I think, this is what I think, this is my personal opinion, is over the period of time of the last, maybe say 20 years, starting maybe in the 90s, it started to become, maybe not even in the 90s, maybe really 2000 and up. It's maybe through social media, maybe through manipulation. It started to become things about how everyone feels, not about facts, not about what's best for an area, what's best or what's right or wrong. It's just about how everyone feels.
Okay.
It's about everyone's feelings.
So for me, that was built into the system with, this idea of, we'll be soldiers and our kids will be farmers, and we'll be farmers and our kids will be teachers, and we'll be teachers and our kids will be artists.
Right.
Well, we got there.
Right.
And this is what you get.
Well, it's like the old,
Also, we didn't prepare whatsoever with being wrong and taking accountability. We got rid of we did participation trophies, and everyone's told good enough has been good enough, and just simply you showing up is enough for you to succeed. And none of that has ever been fucking true.
Yeah.
The artist part wasn't the fuck up. The having feelings part isn't the fuck up. It's the accountability.
Well, I'm not saying like having feelings is.
No, and I don't think you are, but I understand where you're coming from. Of like that's where we've shifted everything to, and anyone who makes you feel uncomfortable is attacking you, and that's not true.
Right.
We're allowed to have different opinions.
So this reminds me of the old saying: "Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times." And that's where we're at now.
I agree.
We're in weak men. And if you look back at society, and you look at what the government did, if you look at like the 1984 crime bill, you look at, I look at the 60s, right? Men wore suits.
Yeah.
Men did not, your feelings were, sure, they were valid, but if you're like, they didn't wake up and take their emotional temperature every morning.
No, they drank whiskey and didn't speak to anyone.
No. And then they went to work and they provided, you know what I mean? Like granted,
I'm with you.
So that was the whole thing is granted there's a lot of truth to that, especially with, we can get
our parents. Let's go ahead and break that down a little bit.
Yeah. Well, especially with the vets from that area, because they didn't have support. So it's just like, let's just drink and beat my wife.
Yeah. What we'll do is never talk about that again.
Yeah. But, the broad picture of things, people were, I feel like were much more level headed. It wasn't about like, oh, I feel like my rights are being violated or wah, 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 wah. It's like, listen, you don't care. Get your ass up, get dressed and go to work.
Well, I think all of that really applies well to white middle-class America.
Well, see, I see
in the 60s, less.
Well, so this is what I kind of disagree there, because I look at like guys like Martin Luther King, right? Mm-hmm. What did he do? He was all about a judge a man based off his character. And men in the 60s, if you want to talk about black men in the 60s, they all wore suits.
100%.
How many fathers were in the home in the 60s?
I don't know the statistics difference.
So a lot more than it was in the 70s. And when you started hitting the 70s, that's when things started, you started bringing the crack epidemic started to come in, and all of a sudden you stop seeing men in suits. And there's the degradation of taking that subsect of individuals, dividing them and taking fathers away from homes.
Also,
when you don't,
it's definitely worth considering that perhaps the passionate black leaders of that time we had killed.
Yes.
So
no, I'm totally telling you this was a plan. This was a straight up plan by the government to make this happen. Yeah. These are my beliefs. These are beliefs of Nick Koumalatsos and no other ones. I just want to put that disclaimer out there.
But keep it down, keep it under control, keep it from
and then criminalize them, right? Like now we're going to criminalize them. We're going to put them in jail. Okay.
Crack epidemic is so fucking gnarly. Single offense, lifetime in jail.
Right.
What are you talking about? Like, it's no different than cocaine. It's the exact same fucking drug that white people were using in pretty mass quantities, and hell, even could get medically for the right people. We would fucking put people in jail for lifetime sentence.
For life. Yeah. And now, I'm, not unless you want to get into it, but I'll tell you like this, go do your homework on where those laws came from. You want to talk about the people that really want to take care of the low class and the low income and really going to take care of the people and all the ethnics. Go research where those laws came from and who made those. And you might not feel the same way that you do now.
Weird one, period.
But here's the deal. So you did that. You locked up you locked them all up. And now we have a much, as a nation across the board, a much weaker family unit and fatherhood.
I agree with that.
So now what happens if that would never have happened, right? If you had a strong husband, fatherhood base in America, I don't think any of this stuff would be happening.
Well, I think what you're saying by fatherhood base, right, is that you actually have a role model in the house that is accountable and strong
across the nation.
Right. That every single house has a rock.
Yes.
And whether that is mom or dad, but has to have that fucking rock.
Yeah.
And I do believe that, man, yeah, the not growing up without a father thing. And then what typically follows that is an empty home because the one parent that is there has to work.
That was my life. That was how I grew up.
Yeah.
And I went down a very dark road, and by 13, I had 2 felonies under my belt. You know, it's like, that's what happens when you don't have someone who's like, hey son, you're fucking up.
Yeah, I definitely grew up with the opposite of that. My old man was always there. And like whether or not he had, I would say, the best tools for dealing with stress, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, he raised 2 men that are accountable, that do work hard, that do give a shit.
And because of that, you also hold yourself accountable. You hold the people around you accountable. But that changes. Now you think about that from a nation standpoint.
I know.
What does that do for a nation? And I don't think that the government would be able to get away with half the stuff it did if we had a united front like that, if we had that rock, like you said.
Yeah. And it should start with the people. But because that hasn't been something that we value clearly at home, right, why would it trickle up to the person who's running the show?
Well, of course. And there's a deliberate attack on that methodology and that mentality of having that thing. Okay. So going back to this whole thing with COVID and like there's lockdowns and the things and all this kind of happened. So they shut down, they didn't shut down big business, which the hypocrisy of all this is crazy. Walmart was open, Lowe's was open, fast food was open in a health pandemic.
You mean the places that pay tax revenue?
Right. ABC liquor stores made more money in the ABC states than ever. And they said, this is the reason why.
Had they just said, okay, since all your big box stores have the money to be able to afford their healthcare and like people going home and doing all that, why don't we have them chill the fuck out? And then mom and pop stores, which only allow so many people in,
right?
They wouldn't get run on it.
No, and that's a good point, because like Lowe's can put 400 people in there, but my gym that has 12 people at a time,
right? That's one.
You're gonna kill grandma because you've got 12 people in your gym. Meanwhile, there's 400 people in fucking Lowe's.
And meanwhile, we haven't done anything to address the actual health on the front end of taking care of your immune system to anything. It is lock people down, get them out of the sun, and have
not one government organization in the world has said, hey, there's a health pandemic. Everybody needs to stop eating fast food and lose weight and get vitamin D, because if you're healthy and you're not going to get sick. And if you do, you'll recover faster.
You could just trust the government to give you medicine. It's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways,
they'll just issue the food that I eat too.
So they shut down the middle class, right? They shut down the middle class, which is the strongest part of America. That's the backbone of America. You shut down the middle class, you quarantine them, you shut their businesses down, and then you open some of them, but you depend on how they do it. So you're letting this money trickle in. Then they want to raise minimum wage to $15. That gets shot down.
Minimum wage gets raised when people can't have jobs. What are we talking?
Yeah. So they want to raise minimum wage, that gets shut down, and then they go, oh, okay, well, never mind. We'll just pay people on unemployment that amount so they don't have to go to work. And then boom, here we've have businesses shutting down because they can't get people to work. So they have no employees to work. So they have to shut down.
Here's how I think. If the route we're trying to go is more robots and less people doing bullshit jobs, then I don't mind a universal income. But with that, means we need a lot less fucking people. We don't need as many people doing all these bullshit jobs because we've decided to have robots do them.
That's what the vaccine's for, so that people can't reproduce. Yeah.
Cool. I got a vasectomy to go with it. I'm doubling.
Yeah. Same. So they, but I've got semen on ice, so we can create as many necks as we want.
Just keep it at your house. It's so weird. I don't think it works.
So they shut that down right now. People can't get employees, so businesses are closing there. Now big tech introduces this 14.5 to where you can't only the middle class, or not the middle class, only small business can't market to a customer anymore because of Apple, which is because of privacy. They paint it as this privacy, but really it comes down to like, if you support hate brands, and I'll put it out. Here's a plug for hate brands right now. Ready?
Perfect.
If you support hate brands and you have an iPhone and you just selected, no, do not let apps track my, movement on the internet. Boom, you just choked out hate brands from marketing new products to you, and only retargeting. It's all on retargeting. So if you're already an existing customer of hate brands, now hate brands cannot remarket to you because you said no. But Amazon's got you, Lowe's has got you, Walmart still got you, all the big stores still got you. It's all the small businesses that you support. Whatever supplement company you like, whatever clothing brand you like, whatever, all that's the only ones that you're turning privacy on. And that fucking sucks.
Notice a difference on your end?
Oh yeah.
Same.
I'll put it out there. $100,000 a month difference.
Whoa.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. We're pivoting, and there's some things that we've done to like to figure that out. But do you think that whatever percentage that $100,000 a month is, do you think that Amazon's seen that?
No.
We all know that, right?
Yeah. And man, it just feels like, the nonstop problem solving of the small business thing and trying to figure out how to play the advertising game. Like, it's always such a moving target. And until recently, I mean, I'm sure you've met with dozens of people who have answers for X, Y, and Z, and you try everything because you fucking have to.
Right, of course.
So many people, and you sniff it, dude. You can tell the people that come in and are selling fucking witchcraft and ether.
Yep.
And people that have an actionable plan to fix a thing with logic.
Right.
That's the ones where you're like, okay.
But the logic one is a lot harder. It's like that's how you know it. That's how you know it's legit.
It works. Right. And you're
like, this is what you're gonna have to do. You're like, fuck.
But at least as a business owner, that way you feel like at least it's in our hands.
Right.
It's just
right.
Cool.
Just work.
Better than like, okay, so you just can't hit that boost button anymore.
Right.
It used to exist.
Yeah.
And, I think about this too, right? That while we're on, a timeline that is our livelihood, and it feels like the social media thing is been around, or let's just fucking say the internet and business. Dude, in our generation, in our lifetime, it hasn't been around the whole time.
No, I grew up without it.
Same, right? And so no one else ever will again. Right? So we're in a weird transitional period of just humans, where we're the first monkeys given this ability, and we don't know how to fucking operate it. We don't understand the rules because, dude, it started like the wild fucking West. And to pretend that all of the internet wasn't 4chan for a period of time, correct. And so, like, as it moves into businesses and growth and all this type of stuff, like,
and learning how to use it for control.
Both sides are figuring it out at a real rapid pace, and one of them's got a bigger pocketbook to play the propaganda game.
100%. So you look at that, right? So now you systematically have this attack on small business, right? One, it was a shutdown, then it was an employee, run, and then now it's an advertising thing, and now like you're just slowly choking the middle class out, which is kind of the game of socialism, right? And control.
Well, yeah, the more that they can divide, the better. Let's go. Right. Middle class is where the wedge has to go. So they either the middle class figures out how to get rich to get to that side of the fucking street, or they don't.
Okay, so you ready for the scary shit? Now we're like phase 5, right? Phase 5 of the taking control of America.
And who is taking control, by the way? Who is behind the scenes here playing this fiddle?
They, Matt.
Is it-
I don't know, man. Is it there's some pretty, when COVID was happening and the riots were happening, there was a lot of scary reports looking at, George Soros and, funding Antifa. And if you look at George Soros' son, Andrew, who had a company
very, very blatantly into globalism.
Yeah. And they were, when you trace the money and you trace what companies, and you've got, Andrew Soros's, company dropping off bricks at every peaceful protest and then busting in Antifa. And, it's like, listen, everybody wants to say what they want to say, but I'm not a fucking dummy. You know what I mean? And I know how to run intelligence and put an op plan together and, trace things and go, okay, I see what's happening here.
Sure.
Because I'm not looking at it from a feeling aspect. I'm like, let me just see the facts. I just want to see the facts and where everything is coming to place, and not let my emotions run over me and, beat my chest about whatever.
I mean, man, I am far from being a conspiracy guy.
Yeah.
However, like I'm interested in reading that information because I want to know as much about stuff as possible.
Right. Exactly.
Picking up, Kyle Kingsbury's been talking about a lot of this. And if you're not listening to his podcast on it, he's been having a lot of
I'll check it out.
Yeah. Has David R. Martin on every now and then, who did the Plandemic documentary and talking about just following the money and all that. The Plandemic 2, that documentary is incredible and has been pulled down from any of the major outlets, which is another.
Well, of course. Why? Yeah. Why?
Yeah, and I also can understand how that discredits it getting pulled off the major outlets, right? Like,
oh, it's they fact checked it and it's wrong. It's so that's why, or is it they don't want you to see it?
Of course, right? All those type of things. I'm currently working my way through a book. Kyle brought up. Oh goddamn! But it's very much the New World Order. What's coming down the pipe, and man, I'd be damned if it doesn't keep pointing that direction as this thing.
So I'm about to skate. I'm about to scare the shit out of you. Ready? So now all that's happened the past year and a half, right? All these draconian lockdowns and all these things. And to an extent, it's worked. It's weakened us at this point. It's weakened us. All right. Now this whole Afghan thing happens and you have a bunch of refugees coming back to the States. Okay. For those that don't know, when the Taliban took over Kabul, we had these detention facilities for insurgents and terrorists that they had been tried in court in Afghanistan, and they were in a detention facility, locked up as criminals, as terrorists, as insurgents in Kabul. Okay, the Taliban released all those people. So, and then,
what do we know? Like an idea of quantity?
Oh man,
I mean, are we talking 10,000? Or are we talking 100,000 people?
I don't know. I know that one facility was thousands.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know the detail. This is what I'll tell you. So now all of a sudden we've got, those are all released. Who the fuck knows where they went, right? But they were in Kabul.
They'd be probably stoked on the Taliban as they were people who released them.
So then you have this whole border crisis, and that's already been confirmed that Taliban have been in Mexico and they've come through the border that direction because that was a debacle. And now we have people that were former Taliban that were former detainees that are now on refugee status in the States, and they've been confirmed that in Virginia there is active Taliban training in refugee camps and making plans. So if all of this goes back to our original thing, if you could stop this, but you didn't, that means you wanted it to happen. So we've had a year and a half that's weakened us. We've been divided. We've crushed the middle class. Okay. We've tried to gain control. Now we are going to, and this is where we'll talk about Afghanistan in a sec. Of why we were there and troops coming home and all that kind of stuff. Now you are going to have, I'd say, and if I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong. In 12 months, you will see an attack on U.S. soil, or even multiple. And then what does the federal government do then? When you start having attacks on U.S. soil, what?
That's what they do.
Oh,
of course, that would of course be the answer. Martial law, stricter lockdown. It's
passes, passports, essential.
You have to have
essential papers,
place to place. It's very different than other places we've seen in the past, though. We have first world things like iPads and stuff.
So and it's for your safety, right?
Well, it
because
is.
Now we have terrorist attacks here, and we need to keep this place safe. Like how people don't see this playing out that way, I don't understand.
Iceland looks cooler and cooler.
Right?
Fucking live on an island, my friend.
It's a fucking island.
I could have we discussed it at length of what becoming an Icelandic citizen actually requires. Because what I really need to get is a work visa.
Well, here's what's great. Here's what's good about you is a lot of people there.
I know a lot
the average person. Once this shit goes sideways, Iceland's going to be like, nah, bro.
Yeah, I think I could get in.
Don't keep that shit. Keep that shit in your place.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
That's exactly what they'll do.
Yeah.
They will 100% just be like, all right, fuck everyone else.
So that if the federal government's agenda has always been to, or at least a party, I wouldn't even say the federal government, an organization of people, if their agenda has always been to control the populace and to make sheep of everyone and to create this dystopian George Orwell's,
essentially the long game from like Rockefeller all the way up with
got it. And honestly, to get really crazy, I'm thinking since the Civil War. I look at it as it goes back to me. It goes back to the political aspects on both sides since slavery. And I've got a whole theory on that as well. But
my hard time would be, I think it'd be easy to go back and cherry pick pieces you want to have fit a puzzle at this point, because we have been as divided and spastic as a country since then.
Well, I just look at agendas. That's the reason why.
I have a hard time thinking that Abe Lincoln was by the time 2020 rolls around, we'll unleash the virus, and then.
No, I don't think it was him. I think there was. I don't think there was like you said. I don't think it was a plan, as in we're going to unleash a virus in 2020. Right. I think it's a long-term agenda of, a certain group of people.
That anyone in our government has that long-term willpower.
I think it was, creating a welfare state, removing the middle class and making a kind of this dystopian control of the people.
Well, and as you now, as someone who travels and has family in other countries and does stuff like that, you see it done other ways.
Yeah.
Most people, and I've got some travel coming up that's gnarly, and I always remember it how our media makes the rest of the world look.
Yeah.
And I get why most people don't leave. And
then when you go there, it's the flip side of that, of how they make America look.
Yeah. Or just how not important we actually are.
Right. Usually it's time. Americans are doing their thing again. They're like, oh, of course they are.
Yeah. Or being in a town in Greece or Reykjavik or any of these other places and having this other sense of you don't have to be yelling about all this shit all the time. No.
You're drinking coffee on a beach. Yeah, it's not that dramatic. So this is my theory. I think that all of this, unfortunately, was a plan. Maybe not. At this point, I think they're showing their hand, right? I feel like how can you disagree that they are trying to do that? If they really cared about people, they would, allow people to be free, allow people to choose, and make the best choices for themselves, honor the Constitution.
Well, they don't trust us to do that.
Right. And if it's really about a health pandemic, why don't you talk about that? Why are we not talking about heart disease? Nobody's marching for heart disease and obesity in America, or.
No, because look, fat and stupid people are easier to control.
Exactly. So anyways, now we're talking about 12 months, if this thing, happens, because we've got now we've brought terrorists onto our doorstep. Then what does that look like for America? Now we've got COVID, we got mask, vaccines, and martial law and checkpoints.
Like an actual war being fought on American soil is very strange concept.
Yeah, but I don't think that it's like a lot of people are like, oh, we're going to get invaded by China. No, I don't think that's
they have to invade just geographically.
Yeah, they don't need to
huge.
Yeah, they don't need to do that.
No, there's no reason. Like, this isn't World War I. A land invasion isn't the way it works anymore.
No, man, especially in this world where we're fighting terrorism. This is a money and ideological game.
Yeah.
And right now, China's going to win via the money. They don't have to beat America. They just have to control it via our iPhones.
China like pulling into the lead. I don't hear a lot of crazy religious ideas helping China make decisions.
Right.
And that's one way we operate. And then we also fight people that operate a different way.
Right.
A lot.
So let's get on to the fact with Afghanistan and everybody bringing the troops home. First of all, I would like to say that, because everybody's like, well, you're a Trump supporter. Well, I support some of the factual things that he did. I support that he gave millions to the black colleges and set it to where they never had to apply for it ever again. I support that he kept the tax income down for businesses down to 21% from 38. 38% is fucking ridiculous. Let's just be real.
Ridiculous.
Fucking stupid. Like, what, are you a stake owner in my business? Do you provide assistance? Yeah. Like, no. So I would like to make a profit. I would like to buy my kids shoes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to buy your fucking kids shoes.
Yeah, but it's better on your taxes if you'll constantly and forever show you don't make a profit. And so
right.
If you do make money, can you go ahead and spend that? So
right.
we won't tax you on it.
Right.
Assholes.
Fucking assholes. Right. And so anyways, I support that. This is what I don't support. We never should have never. We don't negotiate with terrorists. Two, we should not have pulled out. Like, I don't agree with pulling out of Afghanistan or the Middle East. Now, this is where America has being lied to. This is the lie that the government has, all sides of the government, over from Bush to Obama to Trump to now Biden. All of them lied that this was like, this whole thing was like this nation building and we're trying to put democracy in there. Listen, they can say that all they want. That is not why we were there. And that should never have been the focus of why we were there. We were there to remove Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, okay, and to keep them at bay. Yes. Did we put some democracy? Did we do some nation building? Sure.
But all of those are trying to serve the first goal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So all these people that want to be like, well, we shouldn't be there and this and that. Listen, either we are there to keep the wolf there, or we come back and the wolf comes to our doorstep. Now, let's look at what they did. So we had 2,500 troops of all volunteered people in Afghanistan. That was literally keeping the wolf at bay.
Right.
That was literally keeping the entire Middle East kind of operating and not in chaos. Yeah.
If so, we can hope for.
Right.
Okay.
But I'll tell you this, for somebody who I would much rather go there and fight, and then instead of doing what I feel like it's going to be the next 12 months is fighting from our doorstep. Right. I would and that there's a whole joke that, like, Marines are at war and the Americans at the mall. For sure. They are.
And that's a good place for most Americans to stay.
Right. And I'm okay with that. Right. I'm okay with a small group of individuals being out there. It reminds me of that the Jack Nicholson scene of Few Good Men.
Goddamn right. How dare you question how that I provide the freedom that you so enjoy?
Yeah, you complain about this guy, or you complain about this, and you weep for this. But here's the truth of it is, you need fucking violent men on the wall to protect you, so that you can get your mocha choca bullshit and your smack a coca latte.
Dude, I've always been very, very proud to be someone that is aware that I want bad people on my side.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, man, you sometimes need bad people to keep worse people from the door.
Yeah.
And
thank God there are good men willing to do violence on your behalf. Right.
And bad people. I mean, bad motherfuckers.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what America has been lied to, is there's this, the reason we were over there is not to, the tribal situation in the Middle East is so fucking fucked up. And it's so, like, you're talking about 4,000 years of de-evolution.
Visible people in the sky.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, dude. For me, as a long way from being religious, I just don't understand. I don't understand the connection to that, to be able to say
cavemen. You're dealing with cavemen.
Fucking chopping people's hands off.
Yeah. You're dealing with cavemen. So if you really truly think that you're going to bring democracy to the Middle East, that's never going to happen because of the tribal dynamics. Like, they operate at a different level. What we can do is not allow the Middle East to be a breeding ground for Islamic terrorism.
Because, man, I can fully understand if you're dealing with this tribal community of people, or tribal nation, right, of people. If I'm trying to run a thing and I want people on board, I want undereducated,
right,
angry people, especially men.
Right.
That's who you recruit, is because they're the most susceptible to manipulation. They're the most susceptible to the propaganda, especially when you tell them, oh, those people you knew were killed by these guys. Right. Like, I understand how you sell us as the bad guy in a lot of this.
Easy.
And super easy to someone sitting there in the ground doing that with that tribal thing, and have now their, whatever has been destroyed, or like, I get how they're sold that. So
now you've got, everybody's like, well, we got to get out of Afghanistan and Iraq and, bring our troops home, our 2,500 troops home. Do you realize we've got something like, that could be wrong, I think it's like 80,000 people in Asia. It's like 30 or 40,000 in Germany, or the Europe as a whole.
Right.
Nobody's been like, bring our troops home from Europe.
No, everyone likes that they're at some cool vacation.
Yeah. Bring our troops home from Japan.
No,
like, we've been there
anywhere else. It's basically Afghanistan or here.
Yeah. Like, that's what I understand. So you're talking like, where's the outrage for the 40,000 people in Europe? Bring our troops home. No, man. Like,
it's from the war.
Like, we have people everywhere at all times. And what does that do for the Americans that are at the mall? That keeps the wolf at bay. It keeps America safe. And this is the reason why in 20 years, you have not seen an actual terrorist attack on our soil, because good men who volunteered to go fight and possibly die, to go over there and keep the wolf at bay.
It's pretty incredible that a thing that we have labeled as never forget, which is sneaking up on us.
Right.
Yeah, these motherfuckers did that.
Yeah.
Flew a plane into a building of people, not a military base, not any of these things. And to pretend that the mindset of that side has changed to anything other than what will you shake your hand and fucking stab you at the same time. Like, why would we think that this can ever be trusted or reasoned with?
And the American people need to understand that there were, and they're heroes and they're men to me. But at the end of the day, is, somebody that's older and have kids. I mean, some of those guys that died were my kids' age.
Yeah.
And the fact that they died, or that they were over there serving, because one of the guys said, I joined because of 9/11. He's like, it happened when I was born. He didn't even see it.
You're talking about the 13.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, they were over there serving because of that. And they weren't even alive to see it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what America needs to realize. Like, we've got men and women that are willing to stand up and to let you go get your smack a cock latte and be at the mall, and talk about fucking fall in autumn and your scarves and your hats and whatever, go to brunch.
It's too hot.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's
order food.
That's what they are protecting. They're protecting your right to complain. They're protecting your right to bitch. They're protecting your right. And don't get it twisted. It's not like, the president was basically saying like, oh, we're done. We're done in Afghanistan. The war's over. Did you tell the terrorists that? Because I'm pretty sure they don't think the war is over.
Pretty sure they don't.
So then, and
it's an ideology that wants nothing more than to destroy us.
Oh no, that's their mission. Yep. Kill the infidel.
Yep.
Spread Islam, either convert to Islam or die.
Oh man,
that's our enemy, America. That's our enemy.
Yeah, it's very interesting, the choices that we are choosing to make.
Yeah. And unfortunately, is sad to say that that incident in Afghanistan was avoidable. It was 100% avoidable. And there's people behind the scenes calling for a lot of accountability. And I think there will be accountability. But
dude, you don't. Clip of Biden basically fucking snapping back about the people falling off in the airplane, where he's like, that was 6 days ago.
Yeah. Well, the last speech, he basically yelled at America. That's our president. He scolded America. What?
Man. Oh God. And then, I mean, it's hard not to rip on him, but like, you see the clip of him sleeping like during that.
Of course.
So for that one, man, there's part of me that's like, this is after the shit's all hit the fan, just as being an empathetic dude to another guy. Like, after shit's hit the fan with Afghanistan, like, there's no way his everyday is cool right now.
No, but here's the thing is, I'm not even
guy who's full of dimension, like, and then a big travel schedule, and he put him in a chair in that room where there's a translator talking, and it's probably a little warm, and you're in a suit. There's no fucking way you're staying awake.
He's done. And that's the thing is, like, I don't think that, I don't even know if he's in charge, man.
No, but I don't think that's a new thing.
But that's a scary thought to say, right? That's a theory to say that the leader.
It's not like this showed up with Biden and wasn't around for the previous fucking 4 years. It's not like that. Let's say they wasn't involved with that. Like, of course they are.
Right.
All or fucking nothing, man.
Yeah.
The trick is making us think that we have a choice and that we're actually picking between two things.
So that's a great point, right? And this is how you create stability in the world, in our nation. You create stability by the people knowing that they have a say in what happens in the country, right? Like we create order and stability because we have a voting system. We have a democracy that our voice is heard and that we have this system that works, right? So as long as I believe that my voice is heard and that our democracy is working, then everybody is kind of like, we're down, we're good. Okay. As soon as you remove that, as soon as you create this Venezuela system or Colombia system to where it's like, oh, this is all rigged. My voice is not heard. My choice is not heard. Now you create an unstable environment with humans.
I can see that being part of the plan.
Right.
100%.
Here's maybe they're counting on it. Maybe they're not counting on it. I don't know. As long as there is human beings, there will be a group of people that will fight for freedom. And we've seen that over history all through time.
Yep.
There is always a rebellion. There is always men that will stand up for freedom. Now might die and they might lose, but over time and time again, as long as we keep reproducing, there will be a group of individuals in the world somewhere that will be fighting for freedom.
Now, would you also say the inverse of that is true, and hence why we can't get rid of evil in the area we're trying to fight? Because as long as one exists, it'll multiply.
The other exists.
Right.
You're not going to get rid of terrorism. It's here. Like it's here. This is the war. And you think that your political agendas or whatever it is that you have going on plays into that. It's not. I mean, you're fighting an ideology and this is the world that we live in. And to come on the news and say like, oh, we've wrapped up Afghanistan, America's not at war anymore. Well, you're just an idiot.
Yep. That's not good, man. We're gonna be at war. It's gonna fucking continue to be at war.
And here's what's really sad is what America did is not just for America. Like the way that we pulled out of there unsystematically. Why would you bring the military out before you got all the American citizens out? There's Americans and school age kids there right now.
What a fucking nightmare. What a fucking nightmare, dude. Of just, you imagine being there like on a trip. Because we're also sold the idea that all of Afghanistan is fucking terrifying. And like, why would anyone visit? And it's because there's beautiful places.
Yeah. And there's a lot of good people there.
Of course there are.
There's a lot of good people. Thankfully, a bunch of my Terps are here. We have one. Unfortunately, we had one that went to go visit his family a month ago.
And he's stuck. Fuck.
And yeah, he's stuck. And there's organizations working to get him out through different countries. Kabul, they tried to get him out of Kabul. That fucking failed. If the Taliban finds him, he's dead. So he went to visit his family, and boom.
Now all of them are up for grabs.
Yep. So you're trying to get him through, but basically he's trying to like cross a border to another country to get out at this point. And that's just one out of thousands. Yeah. And the fact that we have U.S. citizens there.
Or so what I read was 80,000, Afghan troops who had helped us and fight for us and done all this that we just abandoned.
Yeah. And the president's thing, what he said in 1975 when it came to Vietnam is we have no moral obligation to those people. That's basically what he's saying now. Same guy, 1975, same guy said we have no moral obligation to those people. How about being a fucking human being?
Dude, they fought for us.
They fought for us.
Well, they fought for us. They fought for the freedom. They fought for the rights to be able to do and think and not be controlled. And
yeah, same thing. Good men fight. Those people saved our soldiers, our kids' lives. There was Terps out there that literally would take a bullet for some 19-year-old kid.
Yeah, there's a lot of dudes out there who believe in our thing way more than we do.
Yeah. And because they know what true oppression is. They know and that's what America doesn't understand. America doesn't know what true oppression is. You're complaining about a mask or a vaccine.
I thought what Bill Maher said was very, very sharp.
Crazy that he's out of all people, right?
Yep.
Like, some shit's fucked up when that guy is like, ha, you're fucked up.
No doubt about it.
Right.
To just be like, be aware what real fucking evil looks like.
So, and that's where I get frustrated because they look, I'm much more on the conservative side. I
do think that, like with Bill Maher's concept of what he's saying,
yeah,
again points the mirror away from our own government.
Right.
So,
yeah. So it, they like
into firing up the war machine, right?
Right. Exactly. So, like I get kind of, pegged at more of the conservative side because I've served in the military. I'm a capitalist. I believe in making money. Yeah. So, but the thing is me and I said this on my social media, I said, you can paint me at whatever you want. You can think that I'm this, you can think that I'm that. But what I am truly, when you really get down to it, and me and my friends, we fight for your right and freedom for you to be whoever the fuck you want to be.
Yeah.
And we will die. And so you can paint me as this, like whatever you want to paint me as. But at the end of the day, I believe in our country and our freedom so much that I'm willing to die for your right to hate me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a big fuck up by the other side who wants to, oppose guys like you, especially at the, surface level from social media and stuff like that.
Right.
They just see your approach to this. They don't read it as, I also want you to do whatever the fuck it is you want to do, but you don't get to tell me what I do.
Right.
I'm not telling you how to live your fucking life other than I want you to want to be able to choose.
I truly I have that saying that's like, listen, yes, I'm a capitalist. I'm probably a little bit leaning more conservative. I'm a libertarian, but I have a stronger peace and foreign policy. Libertarians are like, no foreign policy. It's like, well, in a rainbow-filled world of Skittles, sure, I guess. But that's not the way the rest of the world works.
Not so much.
Yeah. So but I feel like you want to be gay and get married, get May. I will be there. I'll be the officiant. We'll all smoke pot together and then shoot guns in the air afterwards.
Yep.
I'm totally down with all that. At the end of the day, I'm down for freedom.
Yes.
Freedom for you to be you. Freedom for you to be gay, freedom for you to wear a mask, freedom for you to get a vaccine, freedom for you to work, freedom for you to prosper, freedom for you to raise your kids the way like that's what I want for you. And you don't have to agree with me, but don't fucking come after me when the guys that you're coming after are the ones fighting for your right to bitch and be whoever you want to be.
Right. And the idea that you think your thing is so right that it should be fucking illegal for people to do it another way is bonkers.
Bonkers, bro. Bonkers.
Bonkers. And I will never take a society that has to make that choice.
Right. And
yeah, it's just fucking crazy to me. Crazy to me that people don't look at anything like that of what if it means this, it means the opposite.
Right. So I'll say this, and I don't, to kind of wrap up the Afghanistan. Listen, you were lied to. We were all lied to. It was not a nation building thing. We weren't there 20 years to make Afghan like some primo place. No, man, we were there to make sure that terror doesn't raise its nasty head. And unfortunately, now it has. Yep. And we're going to have, and the world, not America, the world is going to see the consequences of that. And unfortunately, that's on America.
Yep.
We did that.
We did that. We left.
We fucking did that. So you got what you wanted for. What's that old thing? Be careful what you wish for. You got what you wanted for. You got your troops home. Now we got a big fucking mess on our hands.
We didn't get our troops home. It's just from this one place.
Right. Exactly. We got 2,500 people home.
I'm sure they're glad to be home, I suppose. I don't.
Hey, well, no, that's not true because what's happening in back channels. If you got a bunch of guys like me who are like waiting for contracts to pop up to go back. Yeah. Because we know the magnitude of what's happening.
They'll actually go and get paid.
Yeah. Like, well, listen, there were guys there that were doing missions unpaid just because they know that
guys like Tim.
Yeah.
I mean, Tim fucking took off to go back as soon as possible.
If I was not in Greece, I would probably have been there.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm still looking. Say what?
Easy to say from that beach in Greece.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to, so I'm actively talking to, people to see what's kind of happening there because we have American citizens there.
Right.
And the fact that the federal government is like, well, just ask them if you can leave. What? Just ask the Taliban. Hey, excuse me, sir. Do you mind if I leave? Yeah. They're like, sure. Let me chop your hand off real quick.
So how does it work? Like if you're going over to help, right? I mean, you have a list of American citizens that are in the country and we do or don't have contact with them and they need to be found and then transported.
The bad and good thing about this, right, is because of, cellular networks and where we are with social media and communication now compared to where we were even 10 years ago.
Oh, for sure.
Is much easier to locate people. But yes, you're not going to just go knock door to door trying to find people. You're going to have solid bona fides of who people are, where they're at, being able to get them to one place to the other and to find these rat lines to where you can get people out. So there's a couple different things that are at play here, right?
The airport in Kabul is still operating.
I don't know in what capacity.
Well, if planes are coming and leaving, I'm surprised that that's a capability.
Right. I don't think that it's going to be, the place is going to be decentralized or destabilized it's becoming more destabilized every day, the more control they have. So you have a couple different things that could happen here. One, you're going to have special groups of people that are going in to get these people out. Right. And then another thing that what potentially should happen, unfortunately, is you need to take the city back. Like for the world's benefit, we have to take Kabul back. We have to remove. Yeah, we have to remove Taliban from power.
It has to be us.
Right.
And I get that too. Like, how about anyone else because they're coming to fight everyone.
Yeah. And if we don't go fight them, they're coming to fight us.
Now, is that true? Like being over there, being on the ground, or is there representation pretty much from a lot of other fighting forces?
So unfortunately, like as far as America.
Yeah, because look, for me, man, it always just looks like we're the only people going to fucking do anything.
At the end of the day, we're a military superpower.
Okay.
Nobody has the ability to do what we do.
The Russians don't.
It's not in their agenda.
Right. China's just waiting.
China and Russia, I mean, it benefits them for the Taliban to attack us.
Yep. Weakens us. Why would they do anything? Oh, they should be our friends. Hate to back us.
So
this thing is
it's not how this thing works. So unfortunately, if we don't want terrorism to spread through the world, we have to send young men and women back over there. And you know what's going to happen? More lives would be lost.
Yeah,
that didn't need to happen because we had it under wraps. So now these old white men in Washington, sit behind the comfort of their leather chairs and their screens to send young men and women to do violence on their behalf.
Well, at least that's been consistent then since we've started things.
Right.
Situation normal. This has basically been pretty cool for the last 100 and 200 years.
And if they don't, then like what I said, if we don't do it, then you'll have their terrorism on your doorsteps. And we already do.
Yeah.
So
we'll just
that's
curious as to watch how we continue to get it sold to us.
Yeah.
What is actually the evil that we're being sold to? And
yeah. And this is the thing is like any good family, any good person, like get your house in order. If you're not healthy, get fucking healthy. Like, if you're 50, if you're overweight, you're part of the problem.
Yep.
And you will be the first to go. Like, let's just like talk about zombie apocalypse style world, right?
Well, that's what's great about those movies, right? Is because you can give us the war porn we want.
Yeah.
It doesn't offend anyone because no one gives a shit about zombies.
Right. Exactly. But let's look at that as a construct. Who's the first to go?
That they're fucking Dave Bautista. They think that they're running through a fucking casino, never missing shots. Like that's what most people think because they've known a guy who played Call of Duty or watched John fucking Cable.
Right. But at the end of the day, who's the first to go? The weak, the untrained, the overweight. You're going to get fucking eaten, bro. You're going to get eaten. Your family's going to get eaten, period. So at the end of the day, get your fucking house in order.
And you're talking about a group of people that are not interested in discussing it.
No. The government is going to take care of them. What was that thing that said, don't worry, we're from the government, we're here to help?
Yeah, no shit, right? Biggest fuck.
Reagan said that's like, what was it, 9 words? He's like, the most scariest 9 words you ever, or whatever, however many words it is that you can hear.
Yeah.
We're from the government and we're here to help.
Man.
And then what happened during the crisis? They said that.
That's what they said.
We're the government. We're here to help.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
To me, why people want to hand control to anyone.
No one's coming to save you, bro.
No one's coming.
No
one's coming to help your life. And not only is not anyone coming, looking at it as though them not coming to help is even giving them more credit. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit whether or not you sort your shit out or don't.
No.
They have as little invested into both sides of that as possible. The same way the universe has no fucking give a shit about your happiness or being not happy.
You are
fucking care. They just want you to fall in line.
Yep. You're an insignificant fleck of debris and they just want you in a nice little pile for them.
Or get the fuck out of the way. That's what the government wants.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very strange Hunger Games world that we're slowly devolving into.
Yeah. So get fit, lose weight, eat right, train yourself, learn how to fight.
You got a group, right? You're a Gogi.
Yeah, that's one of the things we do. Yeah, we make battle hardened men, fathers, husbands. And a lot of it's like we remove the fat from their life. Because we'll sit down with them and we start talking about their schedule. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And it's like literally 5 hours a day at night on Netflix.
People write that.
Yeah.
I'm a bit delusional because I don't deal with a lot of people outside of what I want to deal with.
A small little circle.
Very, very tight circle of mutants. And so because the people I'm around are all mutants, it started to normalize a bit for me. And I don't understand that most people do that.
No, listen, I'm all about taking a little Delta 8 at the end of the night and chilling out for 45 minutes or
Speaking of.
Yeah, in the basement. You know what I mean?
Habit.
What?
Delta 8. I'll send you some.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with getting with your lady, getting a little Delta 8 action and watching some wild shit on Netflix for 45 minutes.
For 45 minutes before you fall asleep.
Yeah. You go
sex and then fall asleep.
I was about to say, dude, Delta 8 sex.
Yeah. It's great.
Like
sex in general.
Lightning bolts, bro. Love it. But yeah, man, like there's nothing wrong with, and that's what I tell people. I said, hey, listen, if you're going to sit down and watch Frozen with your daughter, or whatever, with your significant other, or watch some of your significant, and you're building a relationship, you're strengthening, that's something you guys are doing together. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well,
but when you're
everything you're saying, go ahead.
Yeah. When you're just aimlessly just wasting your life, and you complain like, well, I'm overweight, I'm not achieving the success that I want. It's like, well, you're not doing anything about it. So that's what we do. So like we take a man who has let 10 pounds creep up on him. He's not the version that he wants to be. So we carve the shit off of him, create a routine in his life, instill some fucking discipline, teach him how to eat, teach him how to train, and make him fucking anti-fragile.
Yeah.
Like we want to make men again. Be fucking ready. And that doesn't mean that you have to be a conservative or a liberal or whatever. It has nothing to do with it. It's just making you the very best fucking version of yourself.
That's it.
That's it.
All the stuff that we all do, and whether that's, me, you, hybrid, with Steffi and Hayden, Rob and Dana, it's all the same goal, man.
There's a very interesting theme there, right?
We all just want people to realize that it's them.
Yeah.
Control and fucking make yourself physically capable to build the life you want.
Absolutely.
Same.
So what is with your daily destroyer? What do you say that? Isn't there a tagline with that? Something about being anti-fragile or something?
Yeah, man. Just strong, capable, fucking ready, fit, healthy, not weak and fucking fragile, dude. Not feeling like the rest of the world is on the offense against you.
And what's amazing about that is when you start taking care of your body, right? You start becoming more your body starts becoming more anti-fragile. So does your mind and your heart. Right.
There's little stuff, man, that, we're working on a piece right now that I'll get going. That'll be kind of a 14 days to eliminating bullshit and just
that's cool
approach, man. Like with a couple of days of introducing breath work to people, like take a fucking minute in the morning and have some stillness and set some intention for your day. So you know where you want to be, and follow that up with a 10-minute walk, something very simple like that. That's the lowest hanging fruit. That's going to change your blood markers and fix all these other problems, as well as get you moving.
Simple stuff.
Right. And it's 10 minutes, but at the end of the week, it's 70 minutes. And at the end of the year, we're talking about 200 miles of distance. That's a literal difference between where you are now and where you would have been without it.
Well, you just look at it from like an energy output. Like you're talking about an extra 1,000 calories burned a week easily.
Right. And then it's a momentum that comes from doing those simple things. Hell, even some simple journaling, some self-awareness to be like, why aren't you where you are? Have you ever Have you ever said that's where you want to fucking do and actually put it there and be accountable to it?
It's kind of like the whole thing that I did back in the day with the 90-day vlog was the New Year's resolutions are bullshit.
Yeah.
They're 100% bullshit because it's a wish. And anybody that creates a plan or creates a goal without a plan is simply just creating a wish. I wish that this would happen. No, man, if you have a goal, you create that's my desire. This is like what I talk with like Fortune 500 companies when I go speak to them is you have an end state. This is just like we did in the military. You have an end state. Okay. This is where I want to be in this amount of time, 90 days. Well, that means I need a back plan from there. Where do I need to be at the 60-day mark? Where do I need to be at the 30-day mark? And then you can break that down into a weekly thing. What do I need to have accomplished by this week, by this thing? And then what do I need to accomplish by a day? I just need to count this one.
Build the recipe. You can always do it. It's no different. Like everything I ever fucking learned about programming for strength training is the same way I attack my business. It's the exact same fucking way.
Same thing. It's the same concept. Yeah, for everything. I need to be here. Okay, that's where I want to be. Let's back plan this thing. And then, because a lot of people go, man, that's too much to bite off on.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. I'm not trying to bite off on that. I just need to do today.
That's it. I just positive momentum that direction.
And that day might only be a 10-minute walk for that day.
Dude, so one of the things recently I've started saying is about, like how do you kind of that thing about like, where do you want to be in 5 years? Or that question that people ask about, what advice would you give yourself 5 years ago? Which is such a horrible question. I hate it.
No, I'd have been like, I just fucking keep going. I don't know.
Faster. But like what I think about now and like that who inspires me and what it is, it's like, I'm super, super motivated by the guy that I plan to be in 5 years. And so everything I'm doing is I'm just trying to hook him up.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to hook up future me the best way possible so that he's
just
doing the baddest shit he can do.
A 5-year high five.
Right. And like, I'll never,
I got you, bro. Don't worry.
I'll never catch him. And that's but like doing the things that matter for me is like, in 5 years, if one of the things I hope to be is less fat and in better shape, then I need to start. And I got to build that habit now. And if I want that guy to be doing trail runs or, adventure type shit, then I got to start doing some of that now, and you got to build that habit to identify as it, to have it as a thing that you are. It's just,
it's not that complicated.
No, I mean, the book Atomic Habits is great. It's these little changes that make all the difference. It's that, an airplane from New York to LA with a 1 degree change at the beginning ends up in a completely different place.
Right. But if you wrap all this back up, it all comes back to the individual's choice.
Everything.
You have to decide and make the choice.
Yep. You have to do it. No one else can do it for you. And for me, and there's a lot of people out there that really do want great things for everyone. I'll never want it for someone more than they do. I'll never invest more energy into someone or something more than they give a shit about their own thing.
Absolutely.
Like, cool, man. You seem stoked on where you're at. You say otherwise, but your actions tell me this is not true.
And sometimes people want to, and they just don't know how. And that's where like programs and coaching comes into play. And I've got 2 different coaches for 2 different things.
There's so many options to find information now.
Yep.
That if you're not doing it, if you don't have a coach or a program or community that you're part of that's going to help you build into who you want to be, then you're choosing not to be part of it because they exist.
Absolutely. If you're stuck and you need help, it's out there.
Of course it is. And the flavor you want's out there.
Yep.
I mean, if you want a coach that makes you feel all nice and fluffy and doesn't make you do shit, I get
Nah, man, I like the coaches that hold me accountable and like call me on my bullshit.
Yeah. Something I have to do to me.
Yeah, like the uncomfortable things. That's where growth is. Then that being uncomfortable.
Yep. Well, dude, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap with you. I gotta go catch a haircut, and then Cal Dietz is here.
Holy shit!
Yeah, so Cal Dietz is coming in, and then I leave tomorrow to go to Africa.
Is he going to do some RPR stuff on you?
Probably a little bit of that, and then we're going to podcast and hang out.
Get him to dig into that knee, man.
No, I don't want him to do that.
Dude, that shit is so painful, but afterwards, it's amazing.
Fucked me up when we were all in LA that time, and
oh, that's right. Yeah,
Jeff worked on me, and then
yeah,
I don't know what my body did afterwards. It was one of the things. But yeah, he's one of my favorite lunatics.
He's this probably one of these, I would say, top trainers in the world.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Anyway, anywhere can people find all your stuff?
Nick Koumalatsos. Find me on the gram. Hit me on the gram.
We'll hit you on the gram. Brother, I appreciate it as always, and still a fun ride, man.
Always, brother. Thanks, man.
We'll see each other soon, I'm sure.
All right, man.